I'm Myka Fox. I'm a comedian, writer, radio show co-host, and general freelance human living in Brooklyn, New York. I think I always wanted to be a stand-up comedian before I had any awareness of what a joke was. I think my family always had that, like, kids say the darndest things appreciation of me. And so I just sort of assumed I'd be naturally great at it, and then came to find out that it's really hard. It's really hard, and there's more of a science to it than just saying funny things on a whim. I loved Janine Garofalo when I was in high school. I thought she was my voice. And I identified with her, and I wanted to do, envisioned wanting to do for people, in high school what she did for me by the time I was her age. Very little. I think it sort of fueled my general rage at the world of psychology. It's a world of just labels for things that they don't really understand. I went into it hoping to understand, what really makes people the way they are, and I found out that they don't really know. They just have names for different clusters of behavior patterns, which is really disappointing. I assumed, by 2003 is when I graduated college, that they knew most things about the brain. Because I was very uneducated, and then by the time I was very educated, I found out that they don't. So that anger, I think, helps. That disappointment, I think, set the stage for comedy. That was at a comedy club in, I want to say, in LA, but it was in a very rough part of LA, Watts. That's what, South Central Watts. And it's a comedy club called Mixed Nuts. And I'd never done stand-up before. Someone had seen me do improv comedy and needed a woman for the bill, and just asked me to do it. And it was terrible. It went terribly. And I was completely out of place. Danny LaBelle had seen me do stand-up a number of times and called me out of the blue. I had dropped out of the stand-up scene. I took some time off just to figure out who I was as a person. You have to know what you stand for before you pretend to stand for something, before you stand up for something, let's say. So he remembered me and called me in to audition for Comical Radio, and that's how I ended up on that show. I would, just hanging out, making comedians feel uncomfortable, I think is, it's sort of like this, only, so we interview other comedians as well, but the three of us are comedians, and it's just a lot of comedians doing comedian things, except being on the radio. I'm a little bit of a cat pervert. I have to admit, I love soft, furry creatures. I think they're adorable. When I see them, I kiss other people's pets. It's really gross. I just can't help myself. I recently learned that there's these parasites that you get from cats, and they get into your brain and they make you like cats more. It's called toxoplasmosis, and so I blame the parasites for me loving cats, not just me being some kind of weirdo cat pervert.